Hi, it's Phil from parkerlings.com. I hope we find you well. We're now in the middle of November. That means the dark nights drawing quicker, the skies are dull, and of course the temperature drops significantly. Unfortunately, the weather change means our eating habits do also change a little. Now, with the run up to both Thanksgiving and Christmas, we turn our thoughts to turkey and ham. However, just as important, if not more so, are cookies. At this time of year I always turn to two specific recipes though, and this is one of them. I find that one of the best things to warm you up is ginger, and I love using it this time of year. And of course, as habit has it, I'm getting a tad hungry with the talk of cookies. Probably not surprised there. I'm already thinking of the aroma, so let's get baking. For the ingredients in this recipe, we have 3 cups of flour. You can use self-rising or plain, I have plain. A pinch of salt, 150 grams of stem ginger, half a cup of butter, caster sugar, 1 cup, you can use golden or white, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, baking soda, 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, 1 egg, and a 1/4 cup of golden syrup or light corn syrup, and you can be quite generous with that. Our first step will be mixing all of the dry ingredients together. So if we get the caster sugar, just pour that in to the mixing bowl, and then we have our flour, then bicarbonate of soda, salt, and finally, say the best ingredient for last, there's our ground ginger. Now let's just mix that all together. Okay, that should do. If you're making this recipe with your children, you may want to take over at this stage, as we're going to be using the stovetop to melt the butter and combine with the golden syrup. This will get very hot. So that's all of the butter in the pan. So now we'll get the golden syrup, pour this in. There we go, that'll do. So this is going to be the part where the adult may want to take over, as we're going to put this pan on the stove top and heat it up. While it's on the stove, we'll be mixing it around just to make sure that the syrup doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pan. And we'll remove from the heat as soon as the butter has completely melted. So let's get it onto the stovetop. Now don't put it on too high a heat, you don't want to get it burning to the bottom. As soon as we see that the butter's starting to melt a little bit, or the golden syrup is starting to bubble, then start stirring. Now you can see just about over there starting to bubble, so if we just grab hold of this. Now you can use, oh there you go, you can hear the sizzling of that. Just break up the butter a little more. So as I say, don't have the heat up too high, I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. Just making sure here to scoop around the edges. As you can see, it is already starting to melt the butter. Making sure that you're constantly stirring it around now, making sure you're scooping around the bottom, just touching the bottom of the pan, that way you know it's not going to stick. Just breaking up the remainder here of the butter into slightly smaller pieces. It should only be a few more seconds. So doing this is going to be 2 good things. One, you're not going to burn it, so the taste of the syrup and the butter is not going to taste burnt. And the second thing, and quite importantly, your washing up afterwards is going to be a lot quicker. No scrubbing. There we go. That's everything, so let's turn that off. Now we're going to remove this from the heat and set aside just so it can cool a little bit to the point that it's just warm. So while we're waiting, we can get the egg and beat it into a bowl. Okay. That's nicely pushed up. Put that to the side. So let's get our stem ginger, and we'll put this into nice thin slices. It's my trusty knife here. Again, another thing that you might want to do yourself rather than having your child doing this. Now one way you can do this, if you slice just the part off here and you turn it over, that's going to be more stable because it's on a flat surface. So I'm going to just show you that. Get one here. You slice the bottom off, top it over, as you can see that's not going to fall over now. So let's continue. So this is a way you can safely chop as well. If you have your knife, but put your knuckles there against the blade, so that way your fingers aren't going underneath, just going straight to there. It'll always just touch there in the middle of the knife and never the actual sharp part of the blade. So bear with me while I finish this off. Now we'll take the butter and syrup mixture and pour that directly on top of our dry mixture. Making sure we get every little bit. There we go. Now our ginger, which we've finely chopped up, we'll take 2/3 of this and put it in. There we go. And one reason that we did wait for it to cool down, apart from the fact it's so hot, is because we're putting that whisked egg in here. Last thing we want is that turning into scrambled eggs. So let's pour that in. And that's all of our ingredients all in, so we just need now to mix it together. As I mentioned, scrambled eggs, we're not going to be using the hand mixer for this. We're just going to be using a spatula, or you can use a wooden spoon, up to you. Just have to make sure it does get combined, but don't overdo it. That's coming across quite nicely. So you may find the flour doesn't actually mix in perfectly if you have some dried up there. As you can see down the bottom, I still have some that's not quite mixed in. You can put a little bit of liquid in there, so maybe the syrup from the stem ginger, that would certainly be useful. Also give it a little bit more flavour, nothing wrong with a bit more ginger. Now depending on how much you do enjoy the ginger, what you can do is just put all of the ginger in one go, and you can put some dry ginger on top rather than using the ginger you've seen chopped up but on top of the cookies. So I'm going to do that as well. I'll show you what I'll do as soon as we're ready to put it on the pan. And I think that's now. Nice thing with these is you don't have to put them in the fridge. If you do, and you'll probably find that they will crack when you actually put them onto the pan and push them down, as I'm going to show you in just a second. Now this mix here should take around about 4.5 dozen cookies. Now to do that is about 20 grams each, though if you wish you can make it a bit bigger, but if you do make a larger cookie the cooking time will be higher. So let's start making these balls here. So you just grab what you think roughly is about 20, you can measure it if you want, but it's about that roughly. just roll this up, and that there is what you're looking for. So we're going to take that and put it on, and you can quite clearly see here all these little bits of ginger. So let's put this onto the tray. And we'll carry on doing this until we get roughly what we want. So if you bear with me, I'll get all these done. Now we have rolled the dough into circles, as you can see here, and we have put them slightly apart. There's only 9 on a sheet. The reason for that is that because they won't put in the fridge first to be cool, they will spread. Now this is how we want it though, so that's why I've said do not put it in the fridge first. There's no problem with doing that, so that's all good. So the next step, now we've got it all rolled up, is to push them down so they actually make a nice circle, a nice flat circle. So let's get these pushed down, I'll show you what I mean. So we just use one thumb, put it straight on top and push down. There we go. Now if you were to have put it in the fridge first, what would happen here is that would crack all around the edges. We don't want that. That's why I've done it this way. What you do now is use the rest of your ginger and pop it on as you wish. But on this occasion, what I'm going to do, because I love that ginger taste, is I'm going to use some fiery ginger, crystallized ginger, and I'm going to put that on in its place. So let's give this a shot, shall we? So here we are. This is the crystallized ginger. As you can see, it comes in nice pieces. It is all natural. So what we'll do is we'll take that apart. So for example, this piece here, that can be broken into 2 quite easily. So we just take that, snap that, there we go, so there's 2 pieces. And what we'll do is we'll just put that in here, and just place in. Now I usually put 3 pieces this size onto a cookie. You can put more or less, up to you. There you go, just press them in enough that they're just secure, you're not putting them all the way to the bottom of the cookie. So we're going to do that now just for the rest. So if we just, as I say, start here, you just literally just put your thumb on there to spread them. As you can see then, you're not getting loads of cracks. You take yourself some ginger, either this stuff or you can use the remainder of the other ginger. And just so you know, I didn't waste that other ginger, actually I ended up putting it into the mix. The entirety of the 150 grams plus ended up actually going in to my mix. So it's going to be nice and gingery, nice and warming. So let's carry on doing this then, and hopefully it won't take me too long. I'll have the first batch ready for the oven. And I'll be back with you once it's done. So here we go. That's all 9 of them with crystallized ginger put on top. We'll put this now into our oven, which we did preheat to 160 Celsius or 325 Fahrenheit. And we'll put that in there now. Okay. It should take roughly 6 to 7 minutes on each shelf, but I would advise keep an eye on them anyway, just in case they do start to get a little bit dark. Well, the oven's off, all of the cookies out, and they've cooled down, and this is free of the end result. Now I am going to be completely honest with you here. I'm not going to do what everyone else does and says here is something perfect. I'm not doing that at all. Here you'll see this one is a lot darker than the others. Now the reason for that is that I mistimed it. This one, as we can see here, if we just try and break it, that doesn't break so easily, does it? So you can see it's got a bit of a snap to it there. Now this one, more biscuit than cookie I think. So that will go along quite nicely with my coffee here. However, the ones I did last when I got it all right, as you can see, lovely bend. That's how a proper cookie should be. So don't worry if you overdo it. You can just put it in coffee and it'll be absolutely lovely, just a lovely biscuit. Well, I'm going to leave you there. I've got my cookies, got my coffee, I'm sorted for the rest of the day. So I hope you do this, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that we see you soon. God bless. Bye bye.